This comparison is brought to you by my brand new course, 1 Week in Paris. It runs for over 14 hours and it's now available to stream or download immediately. Join me as I shoot with 6 different fine art Parisian models, details in my link tree. Hi folks, hi Felicia, how are you?
Hi, all good?
Today we're going to check out 4 of what I think are among the top action cameras on the market. And I was actually quite surprised that digging into the specifications, despite similar form factors and similar price points, there's a big variation in specification. In this video we're going to be testing out low light, underwater, slow motion, dynamic range, stabilization, the onboard microphones, and we're going to give you sample files from each of the cameras that you can download to see which one you actually like the best. Do you own an action camera?
I own this one, pocket free.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you would know it's the most expensive in the group, but it has some interesting features and limitations over the others that almost put it into a separate category. I own that one as well. The reason I'm personally doing this comparison is I use this guy a lot when we're shooting like boudoir and that kind of thing as a fly on the wall camera that then I can use for Patreon uncut. But some of these have different features and this one gives you 8K. So we'll be able to get that in the tiny form factor. Speaking of that, this video is brought to you by Patreon Uncut. My site over there takes you behind the scenes, uncensored and uncut on all kinds of different photo shoots, including boudoir shoots like the ones you're going to see in this video, but also my travel and street photography, all kinds of different content there. You can see full details in the link tree. Okay, now I don't want to get too buried down in this, but we do have to do a top line spec comparison because as I said, there is actually some big difference. So first off, the DJI Action 5 Pro. Some of these have ridiculously wordy titles. This guy has a 1/1/3 CMOS 40 megapixel sensor, an f2.8 maximum aperture, which is the slowest of the bunch, a 15mm field of view, which you can widen out to 11 in ultra wide mode. It'll do up to 120 frames in 4K, 240 in 1080, and it's the only model that has built-in storage. This guy has 48 gigabytes on board. It can also go down 20 meters underwater without needing the optional house, and it's still weather sealed. And at $349 for the base configuration, it's also the cheapest in this lineup. Next up is the GoPro 13 Black, which is ironically white today, which is kind of the gold standard in a way. Well, it's not the gold standard, but it's the default within the industry. It's $50 more expensive at $399. It has the smallest sensor, a 1/1.9 inch, that's 27.6 megapixel. It has a 2.5 maximum aperture, which is right in the middle of the group, a 12mm field of view. It'll also do 120 in 4K, 240 in 1080, but it also has 5.3K that it can do up to 60 frames a second. Worth noting though, this guy can only go down 10 meters underwater before you need to put on an optional housing to keep it weather sealed. Next up, and this is a real mouthful, is the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 action camera. And I got it in the battery bundle. This guy is the same price as the GoPro. It's also $399. I have to say, just looking at it, it feels more rugged. It's like thicker and chunkier and every part of it seems more chunky. So if you want small and streamlined, it's not the one for you, but if you like big chunky stuff, then this is kind of cool. It has the same size sensor as the Action 5 Pro, the 1/1.3, but it's higher resolution at 48 megapixel, which allows it to do 8K video. The 8K is only available up to 30 frames a second. 4K is also 120 and 1080 at 240 frames a second. Its maximum aperture is f2.6. It's got a 13mm focal length, a 12-meter depth rating. It has the best battery performance in the range and the biggest screen. However, the front screen doesn't show you what you're recording like the other ones do, but it has a flip-up screen, which is handy for seeing yourself, because these ones you only see the central portion, so it's kind of hard to know what's being cropped off. Finally, the oddball in the bunch, the DJI Pocket Osmo 3, the latest generation, but I noticed on some sites as we're filming this, it's not in stock, so I don't know if that means a new one is coming. This guy has a surprisingly huge 1-inch sensor, and I genuinely don't know where it's hiding in there. It must take up the whole R2-D2 head of this thing. It also has the fastest lens at f2.0, a 20mm field of view, which is the longest or tightest of the group. It'll also do 120 4K and 240 1080, but only in slow-mo mode. and it's the only one that is itself a full gimbal, so we should expect that that's going to have the best stabilization. However, it has 0 depth rating. You can't basically get this one wet at all, and as we saw in my first review of this, it doesn't take a soccer ball to the face very well. And clearly Felicia and I are both fancy. It's also by far the most expensive of the lineup, costing twice its nearest competitor. This guy is $799. Okay, that's enough specifications for now. Let's see how the image quality actually is. Let's start off with an underwater test with Model Z. Shout out to Model Z. She was traveling from Shenzhen via Hong Kong over to a vacation in Bali, and we were able to connect just for a couple of hours. Really fun shoot. You'll see her in an upcoming lens review test as well. Now, of course, we couldn't get the pocket camera in the water because it's not weather sealed, but the other 3 all do great. The pool was only 1.2 meters deep, so no challenge really. But something really cool about the Pocket 5 Pro, or whatever its unusually long name is, it will, one, tell you how deep you went. So if you are doing proper scuba or snorkeling, when you come up, it will say your maximum depth was 10.4 meters or 3.6 meters or whatever, which is great. The other cool thing is, if you do any kind of diving, you'd probably know that different colors in light are killed off at different depths. So as the light is passing through water, for example, the reds get removed first. So then your images start to look really blue. Can be really hard to control. This guy, with its built-in depth rating, as you're going down, it starts to shift the white balance to correct that. So whether you're at the surface or 20 meters under, everything, your colors still look right. It's kind of incredible, and something that used to only belong in multi-$1,000 professional tools, and it's the only one in this lineup that's able to do that. Now, we used each of these cameras for a bunch of different shoots over the past couple of weeks with Hannah and Z and Felicia outdoors as well as in the hotel. We'll show you a little bit of B-roll here, but make sure you head on over to my website and you can download a bunch of different clips to compare for yourself. The whole point of this video is to help you choose which is going to meet your needs. Details are in the link tree. Now, we were actually meeting up with Hannah this morning for a sunrise shoot to test out some new lens equipment and also to film a bonus for my underwater art nude course with Steph. And it was a great opportunity to see how each of them would do as the sun rose over the horizon and dramatically changed the exposure in the scene. Let's see how all 4 of them do here sped up. Worth noting that the GoPro died really early on battery, whereas the Pocket 5 and the Insta360 both had plenty of juice remaining. Next up, let's test the dynamic range, stabilization, and audio all at once with a simple walking test. Okay folks, so we're gonna do a dynamic range test here, walking out of the shadows into the sun, see how they do adjusting. And then we're going up the stairs. Oh, hello. And the Osmo Pocket is tracking Felicia, so if I step away from her a little, yeah. Okay, so crazy contrast ratio there. See how they did on audio as well. Hi folks, here's a little file that you can download to compare all 4 of the cameras. I thought we'd do the all in their default settings, but at 4K 25p at their best quality video. So let's see how they do as we do a little dynamic range test. Basically going from backlit to frontlit, and you can see how is the Pocket doing in terms of keeping up. It feels like it's kind of trailing behind and not on me, but if it were double tapped on my face, it probably would. So how are they doing at seeing a face and bringing me up? Interesting. Okay, 45 seconds times 4 files is probably enough. What do you think? Now, despite these two both having vaguely similar video specifications and being from the same manufacturer, these two stand out. The GoPro has 5.3K, the Insta360 has 8K, so it's only fair that we see what benefit that extra resolution can give you. So let's test all of them in their maximum quality, maximum resolution settings and see what 8 or 5.3K opens up for us. Okay, now let's see how the onboard mics are. We're about 6 feet away. We're going to really project our voices and we're going to slowly walk away from the cameras as Felicia reads one of her favorite short stories to you guys. Please go ahead.
I try my best. Brand new for 2025 Creative Arts Nude Photo Shoot. This start to finish photo shoot runs for over 3 hours and bring you along to fully experience behind the scenes of
Sounds great.
good portrait season. Underwater. Wow, is that quite nice? I'm not sure. Stephen is very experienced nude model and is able to hit his pose quickly. This, however, was a new brand for both of us. The weightlessness is a real challenge.
So is the rain. I reckon they can hear us anymore? Must be gone by now. By the course! Great!
Fire!
The friend harness in it. Now, one thing that I have to give the DJI's credit for is how incredibly well their mic system works. On either of the DJI units, you can connect 2 different microphones and it works so seamlessly. I actually own 3 DJIs, 2 of the Action 5s, 1 of the Pocket. And you know, sometimes I'm paired to the wrong device, but it literally takes 10 or 15 seconds to repair and then it's just bulletproof. So take a look at the back of the Action 5. Okay, so I hold down the power button now and we're paired. So that quickly, now it's picking up onboard audio and it really works that seamlessly. You can join a second person to it. The mics aren't expensive. They come with a little patch for them. And I also have to say, the app to connect it to your phone works really well. I always found the GoPro one to be quite buggy, but the DJI one, it just works. And that's one of the biggest things when these little devices have all of these features, but they're just a ball ache to use. You don't use them. The DJI one, extra credit, it all works great. Next up, let's do a little slow-mo comparison. We've got them all set to begin with at 4K 100, this in the slow-mo mode. There's a guy over here playing soccer. Let's see if he'll oblige us. Felicia, come with us. He'll be more likely to say yes if we have a pretty girl. Now, taking a look at these slow-mos, I have a confession to make. We missed the settings on the GoPro. We could say it's due to it having the most complex menu structure, but essentially we messed up. So those couple of shots were us just slowing down normal 25 or 30 frame footage. Unfortunately, we don't have a comparable slow-mo file for the GoPro on this test. Okay, so you might see that we're overheating right now. It's fucking hot in Hong Kong. Credit to the cameras, none of them have given us an overheating warning, even when we did, like, I don't know what it was, 45 minutes or an hour at sunrise. It was probably only 28 Celsius then. I don't know if cameras feel humidity, but I sure as hell do. It's been an interesting test. Aaron and I are gonna head in studio now, analyze the footage, take a look at them side by side, and then I'll give you my thoughts at the desk. Thank you. I'm glad you mic'd up for that thumbs up.
Yeah.
Cheers. You can find her links below too. See you guys inside. So if you haven't, folks, go on over and download those sample files. Check them out for yourself. Overall summary, I would say GoPro is no longer the king of the hill. Out of the four, I would say it's my last choice. The stabilization is kind of mid, the image quality is mid. It does have that higher resolution option, but it doesn't have any dedicated low light mode. And it actually really sucks in low light, especially if you look at the blue light test that we did. It just looks horrible, like by far the worst out of the three. Next up, the Insta360. I would say filming in 8K, but being used at 4K, it looks quite good. Not that much different to filming in 4K and using in 4K though. But using 8K and actually looking at it at full res, it's garbage. I think it's a gimmick and it's not really 8K in my opinion. Well, the quality looks like it's a 4K sensor that's been interpolated out to 8K, something that we used to see on digital cameras 20 years ago. I do like the rugged design, I do like the flip up screen, but if the reason I was interested in it was the fact that it recorded 8K, not worth it. The Pocket 3, best image quality, best stabilization, works really well with the microphones, but it's twice the price of the others, and it's not weather sealed, it's not tough at all. So if you want something for vlogging, something that's going to be able to track you, it's the obvious choice. If you want to shoot in low light, or you want the best image quality, you want an optical zoom, it's the obvious choice. But if you want to get it wet or do anything rugged, skip it. But overall, looking at just a balanced kind of action camera with that classic form factor, I think the DJI Action Pro 5 or 5 Pro Action, whatever, is the best of the best. It's got inbuilt storage. It is only 4K. There's no extra mode, but it has lots of different frame rate options. It's got the low light modes. It also connects really seamlessly with the microphone system. It's got loads and loads of accessories out there, which was really what was keeping GoPro's dominant position for so long, that it was just ubiquitous and you could get those accessories anywhere. Well, DJI has built up now, and I think it's better than GoPro in just about every way that makes up for that. It's time to ditch your old accessories and change systems if you're really looking for a great balanced product. Let me know what you think and if there was any action cameras that we missed that we should have included in this, and I'll see you soon.